Hello, welcome to Lyfeproof, a platform where we give the youth to voice their opinions. Joined today by Ola for another podcast, and today's podcast is titled Empowerment. Sorry about that. And yeah, so Ola, I'll let you take it away. My name's Sammy. You guys probably know me. Ola, go for it.
So my name is Ola Adediji. I'm 20 years of age. I currently study at UAL, so the University of Arts London, and I study TV and live events. So it's necessarily a film course. I'm born in Ireland, and I live at home in Coventry in England. And just during the summer, I've been working with a group called Revolution West Midlands that started in the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. So we've been organizing events and protests and workshops about anti-racism. Our latest event was at Manchester Uni, where we gave an anti-racist workshop to Manchester students over Zoom.
Oh, great. So, you've got a lot on your resume, whereas me, I'm literally a college student, so yeah. But okay, so Ola's got a lot under her plate, and I just want to ask a question. You said you're going to a university in London, but do you live in Coventry or you got student accommodation?
So currently I'm staying at a hotel, but yeah, I live in London right now. I'm in London, but my home is actually in Coventry. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll start off. Black Lives Matter, massive thing this year, and I think we seen it a few years ago, but really this year we've seen the movement, the hashtags, the celebrities get involved, like another level. When did it first come to your attention that oh shit, this stuff's going back on again? Like,
I've always paid attention to all this stuff. So like in school, I really had the eyes on it, and it was very centralized in London. And so I remember the first time I heard about Black Lives Matter UK in England. It was when they like went onto the airplane strip in London, and I've seen a couple protests. Like I heard about them, but I was always like 14 and 15, and I wasn't able to actually go because I just never went to London by myself. And so when I saw all happening, and the nationwide protests and stuff, I felt like I had to go and I had to get involved, because now that I'm like 19, 20, I can actually like physically do stuff. I have my own resources and my own knowledge that I can like provide to my own community. So I always felt like I felt like I always wanted to do it. It was just it was kind of inaccessible to me when I was younger, but now that I'm a little bit more older, I can. So when I had the opportunity to, I did.
okay, which protest did you attend, by the way?
So there was the first protest that I attended um, regarding BLM was the one in Birmingham. So they had a Birmingham protest, and it was really big. It was really massive. Um, on that day, I met one of my friends that I hadn't really talked to in a while, and his friend that goes to Manchester Uni, and my other friend was there, and we all just like happened to bump into each other, and we went to the protest, and the protest was like really, there was loads of people, but they were just standing outside of the university library, so outside in Birmingham, and people were talking, and there was like a stand, but like everybody, the people in the crowd were really frustrated because they were just standing next to each other, and like it was just felt static, and people were chanting, but people didn't feel like they were making a scene, or they were being heard, because vast majority of people weren't actually there. So me and my group of friends was like, to us, like a group of people, we're like, actually we prefer to march, because if we're going to be here, we might as well just not stand here. Let's actually like cause a distraction, like actually get the attention, because that's what a protest is about, to make some noise. So like a group of us started marching, and then loads of people started following us, and we started walking on like the roads, and we started walking on the like carriageway, and we did like 8 minutes of silence, because of that's the time that George Floyd was had the knee to his neck. So we did a lot of that, and it really inspired us as like a small group to kind of like think that we actually have that impact and that have that power to like do something.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel bad myself not attending the Birmingham one, being so local. Maybe something I should have really gone to. But obviously, I mean, I think I didn't go because I was still uneducated on the matter. And like, you know, I'm not one of them types of people just to post on social media without being educated. It took me a while to understand stuff, and I done my research, and then it was like, okay, cool, I understand. Then I started posting. I think we see that with the stuff in Nigeria now,
Mm-hmm.
with the NSARS and stuff, and it's horrible to see some of the stuff going on. And yeah, but
Actually
okay,
have
so
a contest in Birmingham and Coventry. I think that there's
are
an
they
and there's another one on I think in Birmingham on Saturday.
on Saturday? What? So tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I might have to head down. I might have to head down. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, so you should look up NSARS UK, and then they have loads of the protests in different countries and in England. So where they are, but I definitely think there's one on Saturday as well.
Okay, for sure. I'll definitely check it out. So the protest in Birmingham, it was seen as quite a peaceful one. We got commended by the West Midlands Police. Do you believe a protest should be peaceful though? Because in the past, a bit of not violence, I guess, but a bit of animosity has caused the change.
I think that the reason why people protest is because of unfair treatment, and I think whatever comes out of there, there's more violence. Like property damage is not equal to somebody's life. So I cannot necessarily say there hasn't been. We've had like the London riots, but that was caused because somebody actually died. And people were frustrated and angry with the police force. I think riots happen because there is an unresolved tension between the public and the police and the people who are policing them and the government. Because I've talked to West Midlands Police, and I don't know if you know a couple, like maybe 30 years ago, um, black people did a march because there was a bit of it's called the London riots. I've been working with Met, but the police in Birmingham, like West Midlands Police, and there was necessarily a riot, but back like 30 years ago, sorry, because a black man, a black man was like attacked and abused and killed by a group of white men, and then the police kind of like were the aggressors of the situation when people went out to protest for justice, and the police now know that they were the aggressors in that situation. So I think sometimes if the police doesn't act aggressive to protesters and make it aggressive, we see so many videos where the police come in riot gear, and that sets the tone for the people that go there. So it's sometimes that violence incited. So I cannot speak for all protests, but I've only been to peaceful protests. But I think um, when does first of all, when we think about unpeaceful protest, we have to think about who's the one that's talking about it. Because if it's from the people who are against the protest, they can interpret it any way they want. And in we've seen it with NSARS. Doesn't matter how peaceful your protest can be, you can actually just be met with violence, and then it will become a violent protest regardless. Because people were singing the national anthem, just peacefully protesting, and they were shot, and some people were killed. So it actually just depends on the situation.
Yeah, for sure. And well, the whole like Black Lives Matter movement went well. I mean, it was global around the world. Just in the Premier League have Black Lives Matter. They're still kneeling now to this day in the matches, and you just gotta respect that. I think it's a great thing. But you know what? A lot of social media influencers, celebrities got a lot of backlash for posting about Black Lives Matter, and I don't get it. I don't know why people would hate against it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Because people like to pretend that racism doesn't exist, and because they benefit off them. If you've never experienced something and somebody tells you it's real, like it's people call it white privilege, and it's also white fragility, because some white people can't understand the concept that their lived experience is not universal. So my experience as a black person is completely different to my white counterparts, and some of them might have a really hard like um find it really hard to even grasp the concept that my life would be different from theirs, so they completely outlandishly deny it. So they'll be like, that's not true, instead of saying, well, I might see the statistics of, black people disproportionately being stop and searched, and then actually the results from stop and search not actually proving that stopping and searching Black people is actually effective, where 73% of the stop and searches that they do on Black people are actually negative, which is a higher percentage, and it's based on like racial stereotypes and stuff like that. So a lot of people cannot how do I say, a lot of people can't distinguish their own reality from actual facts and people, so they can't step out of themselves and relate to other people, so they would prefer to just deny it in total. it's,
Yeah.
it's just the way some people are, or some people are just blatantly racist. That's my
Yeah, literally. I think another thing to do that is you had a lot of people saying, "Oh, but all lives matter," and we're like, "Yes, we know, of course, all lives matter." But at the moment, a lot of people ain't acting like Black Lives Matter. So let's obviously push the movement. I think people are not understanding why we were saying that. You know what I mean? And yeah, like sorry, carry on.
No, go what you say.
Oh, so yeah, I get the racial stereotype thing. Obviously, yeah, like they did stop and search a lot of Black people. I had mates that got stopped and searched, and for what they don't know, they were just living their day. I get that as well, being a brown Muslim guy. Every time I go into the shop, you already know the security guards following me, and it's like it's kind of annoying. It's like, do you see me as a normal person or as a potential threat?
Exactly.
I'm just a guy. I'm 16 years old. I have nothing to do with anything. I'm just trying to buy my chocolate or something, whatever it is. So I get that, and it's not nice. It's not a nice feeling when you are seen as a potential threat by police, security guards, or whoever. And it just poses the question: why? Where's this come from?
And it comes from colonialism. It comes from slavery, and it comes from a lot of purposeful anti-blackness and white supremacy. Especially because it puts it these these stereotypes and these things that Black people and brown people experience are become dangerous for our lives. For when somebody sees you as a threat, it puts your life at danger, and it makes it so much easier for people to dehumanize you. So when people say, first of all, I was going to go back to what you said about all lives matter, and people saying, all lives matter, Black people don't matter, lives matter. And I find it really, really, really funny that people have the audacity to say that, because it implies that they've been ignorant to the things that have been going on in this world for centuries. We've all known there's a racial disparity in how people are treated, especially in Western countries. And we all know that racism exists. So to blindly say all lives matter too, black people's lives don't matter more, they are obviously ignoring a problem that exists, because you and I both know that there's racism and we've experienced racism. For somebody to blatantly say there's no problem at all when they've never experienced it is very telling of their character to me, because I feel like it's about more than understanding the phrase. Because when I instantly saw Black Lives Matter, I knew exactly what it meant. I was like, yeah, because I know, because people behave like your life doesn't matter. And it's easy to start understand. It's like when people say Muslim lives matter, because we know that Muslim people have been mistreated in the past.
Yeah,
and
we're still
yeah,
it's still happening. Like I've seen in China, where they're keeping them in concentration camps. I mean, yeah, we have all these like remembrance stuff about World War II, and obviously it was sad people locked in concentration. It's happening now. It's 2020. It's happening now.
Right now.
You know
There's slavery happening right now.
Oh, 100%.
In Saudi Arabia, in Liberia, people are being trafficked. There's in Syria alone, children are being used to mine cobalt. Have you heard what's going on in the Congo?
No. Oh, I've seen something about it, but I'm not really educated.
But they're using child labor and war to fund the cobalt. So like the America, Australia, and the UK have been funding these like rebel groups to like start war and fight and militias to kill loads of people, to make sure the economics on the country is unstable, so they can continue mining this cobalt and using child labor to make it free. Necessarily, that's the only place where you can get that mineral. It's very sad what's going on. There's a lot of things going on in this world right now that are terrible.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of the higher powers in the world just treating people like absolute shit, really. And we see in South Asian countries like Bangladesh, it's child labor, and a lot of them are getting either paid pennies or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing we see in China. the same thing. It's all like to exploit off other people.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, I mean that's how the rich stay rich, and they pay nothing or pay little, and
Exactly.
they make people work their asses off for nothing. But I want to get on something. This leads me on to something good. Racial discrimination in the workplace.
Hmm.
Have you had any experience with it, or in
Um,
school or anything?
oh yes, I've had so many incidents. It's really sad. So the first thing I would say is that so one time I was looking for more. I've worked like very hospitality working and stuff like that. I actually worked. Do you know where the Rico Arena is?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I've worked there. Worked a lot of hospitality and restaurant jobs. So during last summer, I decided, you know what, I'm getting older. I probably want to get like maybe an office job just for summer. And so I applied for the job. I'm not going to say where. So I applied with my full name, Alaoluapo Keisha Adediji. I I put my name there in the CV. I got rejected from so many office jobs. But the minute I applied for jobs as Keisha Adediji, I got loads of responses. I got like 10 um 10 interviews. People were more interactive with me. People were like, yeah, we don't have a job for you now, but we will put you on the list and we'll see what we can do for you, stuff like that.
yeah,
And the difference of how I was treated um when I used a different name, a more ambiguous name, not so African type of name. And it was very interesting because it's the same credibilities, like same GCSEs, same everything. It was just I got a completely different response, and it really opened my eyes to how name bias is, and it actually happens, even
yeah.
even in the workplace as well. Like I I I don't want to say, I don't want to admit it, but people say I sound American, which I don't.
A little bit.
I have a bit of a distorted English accent. English and Irish accent, so it's like a mix. I've been in this country for a while. I was born in Ireland, so my accent is kind of special.
Yeah.
Um, so I think as a person, I experience the stereotypes of a Black American woman. People like throw, like when I had an experience at work, and he's like, "Yeah, Keisha, you get it, girl," like sassy, and I'm not that type of person. I'm very monotone. Like I just look at people like, what are you talking about? And he was like projecting all these stereotypes at me, like, "Oh, you're so loud, you're so sassy." I was like, can you just pass me, can you just pass me the file? Like it's very weird how like people expect you to do these performative stereotypes for them, and it's completely out. It's not even my personality, so it makes me feel very uncomfortable. And when you don't perform for people, they get mad, and they like, oh, she thinks she's better, she thinks she's smart and she's clever and she's better than other people.
Yeah.
But you weren't interested in getting to know me. You're interested in having maybe a Black friend, or having a sassy girl to give you your one liners or something like that.
Yeah. Literally. I get the name thing as well. Why do you think I keep my name as Sammy Khan? But it's true, and I will. My name is gonna stay as Sammy Khan. On my college ID, it says Sammy Khan. I'm not changing that because I know what people are like. If they see my action name, they're gonna be like, mm-mm. They see Sammy, they're like, oh, he might be mixed though. So it's like, alright, cool. I'll keep it like that. And but yeah, yeah, we do like again, like in school, you get it, and it's like I've been in trouble a few times, and it's like the teacher's like, I've been to the teacher like, why are you picking on me? They're like, gotta keep an eye on lads like you. I'm like, lads like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like what have I done? I've done nothing. And you get it though, and it's not. I didn't realize at the time. I just thought, okay, they're just being a knob. But when I think to it now, I'm like, lads like me. I'm just a brown guy. Oh wait, I'm a brown guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, so it's a bit shit. But I think I don't. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't know when this is gonna stop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't see it stopping because it's the older generation trying to convince the younger generation, who are then going to be convinced by the older generation, and then convince the younger generation. So I don't know. I'm confused. Do you ever see it stopping?
You know what, I think we have to, it has to be a better option. We have to first all teach like full history. We need to like actually teach
Oh,
anthropology.
100%. 100%.
We have to combat our biases, but I think it's happening smaller and in smaller small. I think people of color are more aware about these things. So we already know from the jump, like we already are kind of more knowledgeable about certain things than white people. Then white people are not taught it. Like white people don't even know any of our history completely. Like your parents probably taught you a couple things about where you're from. I don't know where you're from, but um, but the people who are actually, no, I don't want to say the problem, but sometimes perpetuate these issues are white people, and they're not being educated about these certain things. Like, fair enough if, and I feel like the education is not getting to them, and I don't think it's going to, because it needs to penetrate in their houses, and it needs to penetrate them in school, and I don't think the government currently will implement any of that. They don't even want to tell full history, like, about colonialism. They
100.
haven't even talked about the colonialism that went on in India and other Asian countries. They only talk about Africa. That's not even. That's no. They do. I'm from Ireland, and they don't even talk about what they did to the Irish. So it's very funny for me.
Yeah, and like, I can name about how many white people have done history. You got Hitler, he killed a lot of people. Stalin, mad guy. You had John Kennedy, great guy, and there's probably a bunch more. I briefly got mentioned about Martin Luther King in primary school when it came to Black History Month. Asians, South Asians, any kind of Asian, I have absolutely no clue about my history.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue. The only time I learned about it is like when my mum mentions it, but my mum ain't a teacher. She's just my mum.
Yeah,
When are we
exactly.
gonna learn? When am I gonna learn about what my history? Like, if my kids come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Dad, like, what was it like back then?" I don't know. I don't know, mate. I
Exactly.
can't help you.
And it's the like in they're like creating ignorance because people don't understand. So when you come with another point of view, people can't even fathom it because they haven't learned about it. Like, loads of people don't even know that Black and Asian people fought in World War I and II. Like, people generally do not know that happened. So when we talk about like memorabilia for World War I and stuff like that, people don't even think about. So a lot of Black and brown people and even white people believe that um, um, Black and brown people didn't contribute into the world at all. They haven't made. That was slavery happened, and now it's then. But there's been thousands of events. It's just been kind of erased by the education system that we live in, and it's
Yeah.
very sad.
And you know what? It scares me about the stuff that's happening now. Are they gonna hide it? Because, like you said, they're erasing history by just not telling us about it. Do you know how much shit's happened this year? Like with the Black Lives Matter thing and in general, what are they gonna wipe out? If
Yeah,
it changed the world tomorrow, people might not know about it. They might just wipe it out and say it was a white guy that did it or a white girl. And
yeah,
that
exactly.
scares me. It's a scary place growing up as an, I guess, ethnic minority. It is like we have to worry about certain things that other people don't. And that leads me on to something else. Do you believe there is a white privilege?
Yeah, I genuinely believe that there's white privilege, and it just because their problem is their existence is not like determined how people treat them, and their worldview is not affected because they're white. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's nobody hates on them and purposely oppresses them because they're white. Nobody does that. Like, you can be white and poor and experience classism or witness racism because disproportionately because Black people experience racism that makes them sometimes poor. So Black people experience classism, racism. So white people tend to mingle with what you call it, Black poor people. So you might live next to a Black person when you're white, and you might be poor. So they might actually witness or see racism, but never experience it for themselves.
yeah.
And
I think
yeah,
Yeah, I think there's a white privilege. I think some people are so privileged they don't know that they are. They don't understand how lucky they are.
it's that with all types of privilege. Like, people who have money will think, I'm just a regular person. I can, yes, it's everybody can afford a house and have, or everybody's parents has a home, or it's not that easy. It's easy to have a job because when you have something, it's very hard to think about people who don't have it.
Yeah,
Or
100%.
me being like, I'm able bodied, so I can walk and I can see and I can smell and I can taste. and I can hear. So I don't have this privilege of living in a world that's made for hearing and seeing people and people who have non-mobility issues. So I walk around this world thinking it's just normal for there to be 6 flights of stairs in an entrance to the library or something like that. But for somebody who is in a wheelchair, it might be very difficult for them and they won't be able to access that library because
Yeah. 100%. That's why I thank God every day for having a fully functioning body. I think people forget how lucky we are. How lucky are me and you to be on a Zoom call right now talking? There's some kid that's in like, I don't know, wait, that's dying for a phone, or you can't even make a phone call. And there's a kid
exactly,
that's dying for a chance at life. You know what I
exactly,
mean? So you have to like look at the people like that
yes,
are less advantaged, and we have to
and
like,
we have to acknowledge those people constantly, and we should promote their voices because honestly that shouldn't be going on, and it's not right because it we shouldn't just make a world that benefits me because I can walk and I can talk. It should benefit everybody that's in the society because that's not a society where it would be exclusive. Society is about everybody that lives in it. So if we can't live in a society that benefits everybody then and helps everybody live to the best they can live, then we're not living in a good society. And I think that's what's
yeah.
happening now.
And I think, yeah, like you said, like people that I guess are less advantaged, and it's the people higher up that are letting them be less advantaged. The
Mhm.
free school meals thing, have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard about
They've
that.
cut that off now.
It's really disappointing because it's really funny because they've wasted so much money on track and trace. The MPs have subsidized food, so they get like £150 a week for food, and then they can actually claim that back from the government.
And then there's kids that are growing up, like it could be anywhere, but like example, a council estate, they're struggling to pay the bills at home. The last thing they want to think about is like, oh, hopefully the school can take care of what my child eats. Nope, the government said no, sorry, you just
Exactly.
have to fund. So ignorant,
It's so
so ignorant.
and they're saying like, oh, if it's parents' responsibility, but it's nobody's choice to be born in a poor family. We're in a global pandemic. Loads of people have lost their jobs. Loads of people have lost their job. They might have not even been in the situation that we're in. And I don't want to sound like anyway, but it's the Tories' fault because they put people in positions where they're living paycheck to paycheck. Nurses are living paycheck to paycheck with their children. Like people who are healthcare professionals, the backbone of this country, are living paycheck to paycheck. Is not right. It's literally not right. There's people who are actually work every single day and still can't feed their children. There are people
Literally.
who work 40 hours a week and cannot pay their rent. It is not okay.
I know. I think there's so much money in this. Like, okay, yes, the economy has gone down because of this, but there's still a shit ton. Can we? I think it cost. What did they say? It was like 20 million for the free school meals. That's not a lot for this economy, man. 20
Yeah.
million. Just pump it. Just do it. It's not that much. There's so much money that we've spent.
It's not that much money. It's not that much money at all. It's not that much money. We spent like 2.5 billion on track and trace.
And it failed. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. The MPs got a raise for £3,000 raise each, every single one of them, and there's almost 300. There's almost 360 of them.
And the scary thing is, again, I don't see how we're gonna stop these people high up.
Hmm.
I don't know how, and yes, the people have to come together, but I don't know. I don't see it happening personally.
To
I
be
think
honest,
carry on.
yeah. No, I said I feel like now that more people, my whole thing is how are they going to um lie in the election in a couple of years?
Yeah,
I wonder what, because this is the first time I'm like politically awake and I can vote. Like last voting term was the last time I could vote. Most likely, when it's time to vote, you probably will be old enough as well. Yeah,
when can I vote? 18.
yeah,
I've got about a year. So what's good? Yeah, and you know what? I'm looking forward to being actually able to put my opinion out there. But make sure you do have a pen. You know, you rub these things out. So yeah, and what's it called? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well because I'm only 16, but I'm becoming more politically aware. I'm taking in the news. I'm seeing what's going on in the world. My mind's opening up now, and it's like it's kind of excites me because I know there's a new generation that's ready to put their votes down. But
mhm,
yeah. And how
I,
do you think it's important to teach politics in school?
yes, I think it's really important to teach politics in school because I think in school we lack the political knowledge, so we don't have the right information. And sometimes people just choose what their parents' political ideology is instead of their own morals compass. But we don't even know. Like, I'm so sorry, but we don't really learn that much of the structure of the government in the UK. There's
Oh
not
no.
much knowledge. There's not, like, I remember, like, I went to a club that taught me how to vote and how the government is made up. But in school, I never learned that, especially in secondary school. It's really important. If secondary school is supposed to teach people how to get a job and be a member of society, not teaching them how to vote is not teaching them how to be a member of society. It's very school is very iffy. I have a
I
lot of
think I think there's so much bullshit in school, the education system. First of all, I can't even learn about my ancestry or nothing like that, like my heritage. And then I can't even learn how to be an adult. I'm learning about fucking the shit in the leaf.
yeah.
I don't care. Like if I wanted to do that, then maybe leave that to higher education, or let me pick the option to do that. Can I actually learn how to be my own man? No, because I have to just find out the hard way because school don't want to support me there.
Yeah, exactly. They don't teach me. We live in a capitalist society, but they don't even teach the masses how capitalism actually works. So it's very funny to me. It's very funny, and they've passed a bill recently to ban any anti-capitalist teaching in school. So most of the things that you'll teach is most likely capitalist propaganda in school. So they don't teach you actually how to be fully functioning. They don't how teach you how to pay your taxes. They don't teach you about like simple, like literally simple stuff like a TV license. They don't teach you how, like, what road taxes. They don't teach you how to vote. It's very confusing how school like props itself on how to teach people how to be adults because it doesn't.
Yeah, and yeah, like I think yeah, education is important because it can give you like a great career. But how far can you get without the common sense of what it's like after school and after education? Because you see a lot of people they're so smart but so stupid when it comes to everything else. How important is it to teach people about life in general, not just
It
politics?
helps. It gives people the basic tools to criticize and critique. It gives people like the basic tools and necessity because at school, school's meant to be an equalizer. That's why there's public schools because um, to equalize people and make it knowledge more accessible to people so everybody can learn. And if if school like props itself up on the ideology that it teaches kids by you wearing uniform, you're ready for suits and stuff like that when you go into work and stuff like that, or not having dyed hair or expressing yourself with loud jewelry because in adulthood you won't be allowed to do that in a workplace. But they also forget the main core things about teaching people how to work in a workforce. Like, you don't learn about Excel, you don't learn about like you don't learn certain things in school, and I feel like it's missing now that I'm an adult and I have to do certain things, even though I'm still in like the cocoon that is university because it protects you from
Yeah.
certain things. Um, there's a lot of responsibilities of taking care of yourself.
Yeah. I think yeah, like I don't know anything about how to even get a job in the first place. They haven't told me that. I've had to find out myself how
Mhm.
to like do certain things like taxes. I have no clue and don't have to pay them when I'm 18.
Mhm.
Like that's a year away. I
Everybody,
haven't got anything.
everybody pays taxes. You currently do pay taxes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. Um, but thingy, yeah, like I don't get the taxing system as well. As
Mhm.
well, I think a lot of that money. I'm just confused as to where it goes. Like I said, pump that like a large sum of money into the NHS instead of roadworks. Do you know how many pointless roadworks there are in Birmingham
Mhm.
for nothing?
The
Like,
roadworks are the. Let me tell you something. Where the roadworks are not even a large percentage of where that money's going. The
yeah,
most of the money goes to MPs for me.
yeah, and it's like it makes absolutely no sense. And I think some of that money, there's some dodgy stuff going on with that.
Yeah,
Some really dodgy things are going on with that.
and the
Um,
military, which is even more dodgy.
mm.
And
And
private.
did you hear about Donald Trump in his first year as president? I know it's America. Only paid 750 quid tax.
Mhm. Same here. Same in this country. Um, Amazon and what was the other a company? Another company I can't remember. Don't pay their taxes in England, so they have it. They didn't pay their taxes for years in England because they can do stuff. They can make it seem like they're not actually in England. So it's called tax evasion.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I
they,
think wasn't Donald Trump's he kept saying he paid 70 grand for haircuts or something like that.
Mhm.
That's how he got away with it.
Yeah. So you
Like,
can and it's the same way people buy expensive art. So they'd be like, so just imagine I buy if I'm a billionaire and I buy a painting with a banana stuck onto it and I buy it for 10 million. Okay, and now I donate that painting to a hospital. I buy it off my friend who's an artist and I say I paid them 10 million and then I donate that painting to um what you call it to a hospital or whatever, a 10 million painting, and I donate it to a hospital. So now I can write that off and say I've given 10 million away to charity, and then I can claim less on my taxes.
mhm.
But
Do you
that
think that?
painting might have not been worth 10 million.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways to get around taxes. But like I said, are we educated on that? They
No.
don't want us to know that. You know what I mean? They want their money. They want to get paid at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think we're coming towards the end. We probably got about 10 minutes, and I just want to ask you a few more light-hearted questions. I'm glad you came on. We had such a good conversation about some important things, and I think there's room for a part two here. But yeah, so you're studying at uni. You're doing film. Where do you want to go with film? What's the goal? What's the top ambition?
So okay, I'm glad that you said this. I'm gonna manifest here. So my personal goal is that I want to, after uni, I want to be able to do a feature-led film, work with Netflix, work with Amazon, Prime Video, work with other stuff, maybe do set up my own production company where I help young Black and Brown people produce content and film and TV that that sends good representation for them and they have no restrictions on like I'm not gonna restrictions on the type of characters they have and they can fully express themselves and then I'll help them fund it and stuff like that and then maybe create a TV and live events insurance company for like small YouTubers for their cameras and like freelance insurance and stuff like that. That's my
Yeah.
goal.
Okay, that's good. And you want to go for the top. What's the point of being ambitious if you're not gonna aim for the stars?
Yeah,
And I always ask the same question, and I always get the same sigh. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
where I see myself in 5 years, I want to see myself still doing my activism work. Hopefully, I'm still making movies. I will be making movies. Hopefully, providing for my family, being a positive role model, and helping other people who are in the position as me right now.
Yeah. That's good, man, and I'm glad to hear it. You're so young, and there's so much potential there to, thrive. So hopefully, I get to see some of your films soon. Am I invited to the premieres? I'd like to think so.
No, I'll get you a spot. Don't worry.
I appreciate it, man. And yeah, for myself, I think everyone knows I see myself in 5 years. Obviously, I'm going for the Olympics, boxing, but because there's Corona stuff, I'm delayed by a year, so I don't know what's gonna happen there. But we're gonna keep pushing, keep trying. All I want to say, thank you so much. Is there anything you have to say?
No, it was really great to be here. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to Lyfeproof for letting me host another great podcast. And yeah, so this has been Lyfeproof. Hope you enjoyed it and see you in a bit.